Well, hi, Jeremiah. I am so glad that you agreed to join us today. I want to talk about the Prove It Post Purchase app and kind of just learn about it, hear what you have to say. So, I guess to start, can you introduce yourself and tell us about the app?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jeremiah. So I run an app called Prove It Post Purchase Surveys. So it's a survey app. It's designed for asking a variety of questions post purchase, anything from a how was your shopping experience to a question to a how did you hear about us question. So it's a very simple, straightforward app, really easy to use. But the goal with it is to be able to ask some important questions at a time when a customer is most willing to give you feedback, which is on the purchase confirmation page.
Got it. What are some, I guess, early on wins? What have you seen that's been super successful and helpful for your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our really the thing that we built this for is for better understanding marketing attribution. So we have some pretty sophisticated technology where we take the responses that a customer has answered to a "How did you hear about us?" sort of question, and then we pair that and sort of contrast it to the data within Shopify, and then also give the ability to push that into Google Analytics for some comparison there. So we are seeing some really interesting things with Facebook and Instagram marketing in particular, having a whole lot more impact than what is shown in the analytics. So with our survey tool, you can do like an attribution survey. So you can ask, where did you hear about us? And have all sorts of options like Facebook, Instagram, Google. You could have podcasts, influencers in a store. So there's a lot of different options that you could ask. And then we take those, we group them into channels, and we compare that data. So we actually have seen a lot of stores finding that their social traffic is generating 2 to 3 times the revenue that they thought it was, which obviously is very significant. We have a store that is asking a question about or a post-purchase attribution question like that, and has a podcast as an option. And they're finding that 15% of their revenue is being driven by podcasts, which is something that you just cannot track through Google Analytics or through Shopify's data. Influencers, same sort of thing. You really can't tell what the impact of that in-store traffic. So we're seeing a lot of these channels that have been previously very much unknown for these store owners, and they're being able to see the impact that those channels have on their online revenue.
That's awesome. What is the level of complexity of the survey? Like, how customizable can it be, whether if someone really wants something super simple or if they wanted something more complex?
So what we offer right now is a very simple single question survey. We do a couple of things that are a little bit more sophisticated than the competition. So we do offer the ability to ask a follow-up question. So let's say somebody selected influencer as the option. They could then ask which influencer, or same thing with store, which store. So it's really designed around that attribution question. We do have the ability to run multiple questions at the same time in sort of a randomized way. So if you wanted to ask a few different questions, we'll randomly, we look at the criteria that you've set. So is this for new customers, existing customers, those sorts of things. And then we check if that, how many questions are available for that person to potentially view, and then we'll show them one of the questions, and we just randomly generate that. So up to 3 survey questions can be run at a time in that sort of capacity. We do have something that if somebody is interested in doing a lot more than that, they can definitely contact us, and we can look at implementing a more complex survey for them. But the core base functionality is really that single question survey.
Got it. And what is the return? Like, how are you seeing customers respond to that? Or is it are most customers likely to respond, or like what kind of?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically a 30 to 60% response rate to the survey. So definitely very good. If you look at a survey that you send out via email, you have, first of all, email open rates that you have to deal with, email click-through rates, and then you actually have to get somebody to go and take that survey. So in that sort of context, you're typically seeing 5 to 15% response rate. So this is definitely many multiples better than what you would see from like a MailChimp survey.
Got it. So explain to me what the interface looks like. So is it a pop-up on
Yeah.
the screen, or like how easy is it for customers to understand like what is being asked of them?
It's super easy. So this again is a Shopify app, and if somebody does have a store outside of Shopify and is interested in this, we can definitely have a conversation. But the core functionality is a Shopify app, and so the app is installed on the site. Um, when somebody makes that purchase, they will end up on the purchase confirmation screen, and the question is just injected directly into that order confirmation screen. So it's super easy. You have the question at the top, the options that are available there, and then the button to select. And so part of the reason why we have made these surveys so simple is to get that that response rate and to make it really easy for the customer to understand what is being asked of them. But yeah, it's extremely simple.
So explain to me a little bit about the reporting. So you mentioned whether it's in Shopify or Google Analytics, like how well does it integrate with analytics and how easy is it for store owners to understand it?
Yeah, so it's really easy. I mean, honestly, just like anything, there's a bit of a learning curve and understanding the analytics, but we offer three different types of reports built into Shopify. And then we do have a Google Analytics dashboard that can be installed and customized as well. So within Shopify, we have just the survey response charts. So basically looking at a breakdown of the responses to your survey. So especially if you're asking a non-attribution survey, that's super simple. That's all you really need. If you wanted to see a quick breakdown of your podcast responses versus your Facebook, Instagram responses, all that kind of stuff, it's really easy to see those. We also offer then Shopify reporting, where you can look at a comparison between the channel groupings that you have set up in your survey and the channel groupings that Shopify has established. So, for instance, if a response comes through as email in Shopify, realistically, that customer probably did not find you via an email. They probably found you via Facebook, for instance. So we'll actually break that down and show you that that group of customers is being attributed to social, and then show you the comparison charts between those. So it's pretty simple and easy to understand. And then the last piece within Shopify is our direct traffic report. And so with the direct traffic report, we actually look at all customers that have been attributed to direct traffic by Shopify, and then we break them down by survey response. So you can get a really quick, easy overview of where those direct traffic people are coming from. So typically it's going to be close to mirroring the rest of your traffic, but sometimes there's definitely anomalies, especially if you have some really strong offline traffic driving sources. A lot of those could be ending up in direct and not being properly attributed.
Got it. What are some, or do you have any like early on success stories of clients who've used it and have just been, seen really great results, obviously without mentioning like their name? Is there any like good success stories that you could share?
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of things. I mean, obviously on the attribution side, I think I shared a little bit about some stores that have seen a lot more in terms of social traffic driving revenue than they realized, or podcasts in store. We have one that's been using it to figure out who their best influencers are. And that's been really cool because they have seen that the majority of their influencer traffic is being driven by just a few influencers. Same thing on the podcasts. It's sort of that 80-20 rule in marketing or business really in general. This idea that 20% of your efforts drive 80% of your revenue. And so I think that's something that has really come through in the data. In addition, though, to asking the post-purchase attribution question, we also have people doing things like a soap company that has been asking their customers, which of the following scents would you be interested in? So that's a really cool way for them to actually get that information from their customers in a really easy to digest format. We had people asking things like, how was your shopping experience today? And then anybody who says that they had a bad shopping experience, they're just following up with those people to let them know. We do have the ability to push that data into Klaviyo also. So if you wanted to ask a question like that, push the results into Klaviyo, and then anybody who said that this is a bad experience, you then automatically send them a follow-up email. You could definitely do things like that.
That's awesome. I love the creativity of it. It seems that there's endless opportunities, even with people.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the ability to break it down versus between new and returning customers has been really nice too. We do see a lot of people, especially on the new customer front, or a lot of stores rather, on the new customer front will ask a "How did you hear about us?" question, and then for returning customers, they'll get into more of like the purchase motivations, the product development sorts of questions.
Got it. That's awesome. So if a shop owner, customer, client, if they are kind of on the fence of whether to purchase Prove It or not, what would be like a couple of sentences, an elevator pitch? Like, what would you say to help them decide that it is a good investment to make?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, we have a really robust free version, so I would just start there. It does not include all of the reporting, especially on the attribution side. I mean, it's fairly complex technology, so we do charge for the ability to compare data between Shopify and Google Analytics and the post-purchase surveys. But if you just want to ask a simple post-purchase survey question and gain some insight into where people are coming from or product development type things that you might be able to ask with that, we do have a robust free version that can be used. On the paid side of things, we are still very affordable. So it's $20 a month for our mid-level plan, $45 a month for the more robust plan. The $20 a month plan is sufficient for most people. So I guess that's the first thing. It's very affordable. And then second, it's just a really good way, especially if you want to get into the attribution survey side of things. If you have some decent volume, if you're spending money in paid marketing, it's a really good way to validate what you're doing and to make sure that the systems are actually, the analytic systems are actually giving you the right information. And the reality is that they're not always. So you are going to, you're going to have missing pieces, and the survey can help fill that in. It's not going to answer every question for you, but it will give you more insight than what you're getting now. And it can just be a really good way to track your progress too. If you are really trying to push for influencers to be a bigger piece of your marketing mix, having something like this can show you, you can look back and say, okay, 90 days ago, 10% of my revenue was driven by influencers, and today it's 15%. I'm making progress in this area. And so it's just a good sort of gut check that you can have to make sure that you're doing the things you need to be doing in your business.
Yeah, that's great. That was all the questions that I think I had for you. Is there anything else that I've
Perfect.
not touched on that you think is really important to include?
I don't think so. I mean, honestly, that's the core of it. The idea is that this is a simple app, something that is easy to deploy, but provides a ton of insight and value.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeremiah, for your time. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. And
thank you.
I hope we talk soon.
Yeah, likewise.